Hi Haley, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing, Peter?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I just saw a little bit of your Instagram live you did before this. I've been loving your content on here. It's been awesome.
Well, it's a variety. It's definitely been entertaining. Today was a little family affair. I had my nieces and my mom and my sister. We're doing easy bake, hula
Nice.
hooping. Yeah, it was. And Kaya is singing for me on here. She's amazing. So, yeah, we're gonna try and mix it up. Next week it'll be hockey on Wednesday again.
That is great. That is great. Yeah, I saw you had some guests from the hockey world as well. You did one with a couple with Natalie Spooner. Natalie Spooner came live with me last week, and Rebecca Johnston came live with me yesterday. So
Okay. Yeah.
been trying to get the
Yeah, I had
variety.
Spooner on a few times. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, I've been doing it. Just I feel like people are, looking for positive things and content, happy things, and
Hmm.
I'm happy to do it when I can. So I've got Zach Hyman lined up for Wednesday this week. So good to get some Leaf content on there too. It'll be good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's cool because, people sometimes have like, fitness questions and want to know how to kind of stay active and stay fit during, this quarantine right now. And, I just like, I went on YouTube and I found a lot of really cool, like full body workouts with dumbbells. Like I just have like two 20-pound dumbbells and it's crazy what you could find.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you just need space, really. If you're creative and like the world of social media now, there's a million places to look for exercises and content. So you can really do a lot of cool stuff with, yeah, just even free body weights. You just need to, you can use your stairs, you can use cans. I mean, kind of that's how I grew up training was on the farm. We used to just throw rocks around. I mean, we're not forbidden for going outside. The weather's getting quite nice across Canada. So hopefully out of this we'll have my goal is that we come out of this as the fittest nation, not the fattest. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. By the way, my dad does say hi, by the way.
Oh yes, how is the doc doing? He must be very busy.
He's busy right now.
Is he working frontline stuff?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's chief medical officer of Health for Eastern Ontario, so it's just been like non-stop. But
Yeah.
no, he's doing well. I'm really proud of what a lot of our public health, higher ups have been doing during this. I think we're doing well, but I just want to say too, I just find it's getting better now, but you know, and I saw, you made some posts about this and people talked about it. I mean, it's so important to stay indoors. It's so important to stay in as much as you can right now. There's still a
Yeah.
lot of people still going out, which I find kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, I think, I don't know. I think it's okay to go out into your backyard
No,
or on a,
absolutely.
but I know what you mean, like in terms of congregating or
Yes.
being on the pathway. I'm in Toronto right now, and I was road riding. I do a lot of road riding, so that's a pretty good social distancing thing because you're not around anyone. And I was on the path, and to be honest, I didn't see a whole lot of congregation here over the last few days, which is good. But I still think that some people aren't getting the message, and man, if you think about, the 3 by 3 by 3 multiple now multiplied with someone, it adds up, or it flattens the curve pretty quick if you take care of yourself.
No, absolutely. So for the kids that are kind of at home that had their hockey season kind of cut short and they're in the garage, doing some work, on stick handling and everything. Um are you recommending that, they do a little bit of both, you know what I mean? Doing some kind of like doing like they wake up in the morning, they have their breakfast, they do their, schoolwork if they have to, and they do some cardio, they work out a little bit, and then they kind of do work on like the stick handling. Like how important
Yeah.
is it to kind of be well rounded with your morning routines?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can work on your hands every day. Yeah, I don't work on my hands every day because I don't play anymore. But if I was, I had a little, I had a shooting gallery in my garage. I still do actually, and put a stick out there or a net and just shoot pucks. Just shoot pucks, shoot balls. You can
Yeah.
handle and I think a really good thing is to handle a variety of different weights and types. So pucks, golf balls, light balls, heavy balls. Use your right hand, use your wrong hand to handle the puck so you get good on both sides. Handle the puck on all sides of your body, so front, back, side, through your legs. put yourself into uncomfortable positions. So I think if as a kid, if I was in this like social isolation, I try to do like 10, 15 minutes every day of just crazy stick handling, like throw stuff on the floor in the house and try to stick handle through it. Work on your shooting. And then, yeah, I think, minimum an hour every day to be active for a young kid. Just, it doesn't have to be anything structured, but you got to move, you got to sweat a little bit, and it's healthy for all of us.
You should start a challenge on Instagram, about, like a shooting challenge, and make it your own. You should call it hashtag Wick Flick Challenge.
Oh, the Wick Flick Challenge. I could. I don't have anything right where I am right now to shoot into, but I could probably get creative and come up with something. You know what I had? I called it it's the rice pail challenge, but you fill a bucket of rice. It's a very
Yeah.
simple thing. And you stick your hand in there and you twist your hand with your fingers open, not closed, and go until you can't anymore. I'll call it the Wick Rice Challenge.
Oh wow. Okay.
If you want to build forearms, growing up around the farm in Saskatchewan as a kid, did that all the time with the Hunter boys in the Jungle Gym Hunter out in Shawnee, Saskatchewan. A rice pail that'll give you the biggest forearms going, and it's incredible for shooting muscles.
For sure. It's yeah, no, I hear about it all the time. There's two brothers. One of them is playing for Cornell, Seb and Ben Durbin. One's playing for Cornell, one's playing Junior A in Brockville in the CCHL, and they grew up on a farm. And they tell me all the stories how they helped out with their family farm, and
Hmm.
it was like working out like while working on the farm and then actually working out, but like there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it builds strength and character being on the farm. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Um, Shifting gears a little bit, I've been doing a lot of these Instagram lives, and I've been interviewing, a lot of people from sports, from pop culture, like all over the place. And I'm going live with, um, it's a pretty cool nostalgic guest. One of the cast members from Sandlot, the baseball movie.
Oh yeah.
So my question is, what were some of your favorite like sports movies growing up? Not just hockey, but like what are like the ideal Hayley Wickenheiser favorite sports movies?
Oh man, the first one I loved Youngblood as a kid. Was
Mhm.
it Rob Lowe? Was he
Yes, it
Youngblood?
was. It
Oh
was.
my God. Yeah, I loved that movie. I was just like, I just loved it. Of course, Slapshot. How many times on bus trips did you watch that stupid show? But I laughed so hard as my bantam and midget and higher years, and that must have been on the bus about 700 times.
Yeah.
A League of Their Own. I guess that was sort of
I
a fun
love
one.
that movie.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so do you remember that? Like, when's the last time you saw that movie? Like, did you see
Oh,
it recently at all? No way.
no, I can remember Tom Hanks and Gina Davis and the
Well,
little blonde pipsqueak there.
because I just found like a funny. I was watching it like a while ago with my sister, and we found out like a behind the scenes thing where John Lovitz is in that movie, and he's one of the scouts going on the farm to try out, like to invite people to the tryouts, like Jay Davis and her sister and everything. And
Oh
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
scene where they're talking, and then out of no, and they have cows in the background that are mooing, and then he just like out of nowhere just goes like, "Will you shut up?" And
Oh
apparently that
yeah.
was all like improv. Like he was getting frustrated because he couldn't hear himself talk and do the lines, and they
That's
just kept
amazing.
it in.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, that was definitely a classic. I think what's the Kevin Costner one in the field, the
On Field of
baseball Field
Dreams.
of Dreams. Yeah, that was another one.
Did you see The Sandlot? Do you remember that one?
I did see it, but I actually I don't remember much of
It
it to be
was
honest.
What's really cool is, I was talking to them, and it's been 25 years since they made that movie.
Mm,
And
it's a
they
long
did a
time.
lot before all this. They were doing a lot of press events, and there might be a TV show in the works and everything, like a reunion show about them and their kids, which I think is
Cool.
pretty cool. But it's like they told like some of the things that they told me, like they were so busy working on the movie that they didn't even think about how it could have been such a big phenomenon. I mean, it's the same with when you won all your gold medals with Team Canada. I mean, afterwards it kind of sinks in, how important it was to the whole nation. But you're focused, you're dialed in. I'm sure you're like in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't do it. I mean, you don't do it for that reason, of course. Like, I think nobody does that something like that for that reason. But what you realize after the fact is the impact that it has on people. I remember driving across the border from Salt Lake. We had won the gold medal in Salt Lake City, and we drove from Salt Lake to Calgary. It's not really that far, a day drive and a bit. And crossing the border at Coots, which is by Lethbridge. And the border guards, I remember, recognized us and were like, go Cat, like going crazy, because that was quite a win. And then I had a rant there with Don Cherry after the end of that game, so it was quite a moment. But then I remember getting into Calgary and driving down Crowchild Trail, and people were like honking their horns, and I was like, what is happening? Because it was the first gold medal that I was a part of winning, and then we had lost in '98. So it was at that time I started to realize, okay, this is quite an impact. I don't know that there's anything in Canada that brings people together quite like hockey does. Like really,
No.
I can't think of anything that really unites the country other than hockey right now. So maybe this COVID thing,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's kind of a cool thing.
And I do want to tell you this. I think I've known you for about 3, 4 years now. I think I met you at the Clarkson Cup. I think that was 20 when you were playing with Calgary. I think that was 2016, 2017, I believe.
Hmm.
But I just want to say, there's a lot of people like myself that, are trying to make, amazing content and everything. And, it's a grind every day, and it's really cool. And I just want to say that, you were one of those people early on that, didn't seem like you had to, but you paid it forward and you helped me and you came on my show and you answered questions. And I just want to say that thank you very much for doing that. And I just want to say that people are gonna, refer to Hayley Wickenheiser as, a hockey legend, a Canadian hockey legend. But I will say this, that you are a legend in the whole country, Hayley. And I just wanted to let you know that.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very nice, Peter. It's nice to, I don't know. I'm happy that I could help you, but I always try to find time to help people if I can. I think that, it's the way that I was raised in a small town in Saskatchewan where you just help. That's what, my mom and dad kind of modeled for us growing up. So I'm very happy to see it, getting more and more recognition and exposure, and growing your brand and your show and all that stuff. And I think that someone always, if I think back in my career, people always lifted me up. And now when you go into medicine and you do that for a living,
Mhm.
that's really what it's all about.
No, absolutely. It is crazy. And some comments are kind of coming in here.
Yeah.
Some comments that I've been to Wickfest for 3 years, and I personally think it's the best hockey tournament in Canada.
Oh, well, hi, Kennedy. Well, I do too. But actually, I wholeheartedly and sincerely believe that. I think, and I don't take credit for that. Wickfest is run by Kaylee and Rob Price and our massive team of volunteers, and I show up and I get a lot of the credit. But man, last year we worked with 7,000 kids, over 18,000 people between Surrey and Calgary. We're expanding hopefully to Halifax and Toronto within the next year. And it's an amazing, it's not just a hockey tournament. The kids, as Kennedy would know, you get to sign up for off-ice sessions. I've had, I don't know, over 50 Olympians come, and it's like a professional development weekend for kids in hockey. So I'm pretty proud of it. It's our 10th year. It was our 10th year this year. And man, we've hit over 30,000 kids across Canada. So I don't know. I'm biased, but I do think it's the best tournament.
So I had a question specifically about hockey development, and because, I've been involved with, the Hockey Eastern Ontario U18 AAA League for many years, as an off-ice official, and I wrote and I interviewed some of the players, and I've been watching hockey for many years, and in that league. And what I see, Hayley, and I want your opinion from this, from your point of, playing hockey for so many years in those big, huge games, and kind of having to adapt to every kind of game and situation. And now your work with, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the development and everything. What I notice is you have to adapt in hockey. You can grow up in junior hockey playing a certain role, being that first line center, or that player that scores all the goals. You know where I'm going with this. And then, you turn pro, or you go from midget, or you go to junior, and you want to do you want to play the same role, but you might not be able to. You might want to have to play another position or another role that your coach put you in, and it might not be comfortable. So
Yeah.
what is your advice for those players? Because that is making or breaking hockey careers these days. These players not being able to kind of adapt, and they have a hard time. Do you have any advice in that regard?
Yeah, I think in some ways as a hockey player, you got to make yourself like a Swiss Army knife. Other than being able to play net as a forward or a defenseman, I don't think that's reality. But you've got to be versatile. I've played every position in hockey. I'm first line to fourth line, center to wing to D in my entire career. I've actually literally played it all and been a part of
Goalie? Have you
every
played
role.
goalie?
No, no, I will not go in
Okay.
the net.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Uh, and even in softball, I played in the softball Olympics in 2000, and I went from the last player to make the team to making the starting lineup for every game at the Olympics. And the reason why I made the team was because I was pretty well rounded. I could hit and I could field. I wasn't the best at either, but I was good at both, and I could plug holes. So I was like this versatile player, and so that taught me from my hockey career, because that was back in 2000, that if I can make myself as versatile as possible, and the best hockey players can play any position. I really believe that you can play anything. But what I see sometimes with my work with the Leafs at the pro level is guys get either put into boxes unfairly, or they put themselves in a box and they say, no, I only do this, and they stay in their box because they're afraid to lose their job, right? Because it's such a dog eat dog world. Where I really think that you should try to push yourself out of your comfort zone as much as you can every day. And when somebody asks you to do something, you got to say yes, because the quickest way to get yourself out of a job at whatever level it is to be rigid and inflexible. So you got to be willing to morph. And the game is not going to be moving forward so much about positional as it is going to be about skill and who can just move around the ice and fill holes wherever it's needed. I really think that's where hockey's going. So, yeah, be a Swiss Army knife.
But you knew where my question was coming from, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you see it as much as I do.
Yeah, and it's great. And there are players in the National Hockey League that are making a living playing a specific role, playing a third line role, playing a second, third pairing,
Yeah,
defenseman that don't do anything fancy, that just kind of chip the pucks in. Like it's crazy to see how it's like the game is becoming an adaptable game where
yeah.
you might have some skills, but maybe the coach just wants you to specifically do one thing. Like maybe a coach wants you for your ability to play on the PK and to be that mobile defenseman. Like I just find that it's changed over the years where it's like you have to adapt.
Yeah, it's become a much more specific, sports specific type of a game.
Hmm.
And every player that's playing in the National Hockey League was probably like a first line center or D or whatever, star at their teams growing up. So guys come up, and same with the national team, they come up and then they've got to adjust because they're no longer the best player. Guys are better, and you get put in these roles. But what I always think about is, like, for me anyway, why do you play? Well, I played, well, first of all, because I loved it, but second of all, because I wanted to win gold medals. And so I think I would do anything to win. If somebody told me, block shots for 20-second shifts, it would suck being a first line center having to go to do that. That's an ego blow. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if the team's winning, especially if guys in the NHL making a lot of money, if the team's winning and having success, you're winning. You're making a lot of money. You're playing. It's way more fun to win than to lose and play more minutes.
But the people too that have followed your career with the women's national team and all the Olympics, like different years, you had different roles on those teams as well.
Yeah, I played different roles, depending. I started, even the way my career morphed, I started as a 15-year-old kid. I played wing with Angela James as my center. And, I remember her saying to me, you know what, Rook, you just get me the puck. Just get me the puck and it'll be okay. And then obviously then I played center, and I played a bit of defense. I penalty killed. I played power play. I moved all over the place through my career, and I probably could have gone back and played as a D as well had I wanted to do that. So the role changes, and the leadership that's asked of you when you're younger to when you're a more veteran player also changes. So sometimes it's easier than others to handle different responsibilities, and depending on who the coach is, you don't always like your coaches that you play for.
Oh
That's for
no,
sure.
absolutely. Before we wrap up quickly, I just want to say there's been many, moments that you've been a part of, involving, gold medal games and everything. But is Sochi's got to be up there. Like that was a special game.
Yeah, from a game perspective, best comeback I've ever been a part of. Two
Yeah,
nothing to come back, win in overtime.
yeah.
The most surreal, weird game. Um, Salt Lake, though, given everything, 9/11, one of the American players, her father was killed in the World Trade Center. There was a ton of drama in that year. The men's team, the Looney at center ice, that was special. Torino was kind of blah. The whole Olympics all around was blah in Torino. And Vancouver was to win a gold medal in your home country. Like nothing will ever top that feeling,
Hmm.
of walking out, boom, Canada.
Signing of the flag, was that Salt Lake City?
Yeah, that was Salt
Okay.
Lake.
All right. No, 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 we're not gonna get into
That's
it. That's
okay.
good.
Oh no.
But no, but like you're passionate. It was passion.
I was passionate. I was fired up. I had a lot to say that day, apparently. But you know where that came from? I got to say that Therese Brisson, one of my teammates, she said one day when we were leaving the rink, and the security in the rink kept telling us they got a flag in their room, and she turned to me and she said, "Wick, when we win that gold medal and you get interviewed, you ask them if they want us to sign it." And I said, "I will." I was like 19-year-old kid or what 22-year-old kid. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And so I did it, and that's what happened. But
Because
anyway,
the first time you came on Popternative with myself and Charles Hamlet, we talked about that. Because
yes.
when you search your name on YouTube, like there's other things that come up right now. The Hockey Hall of Fame comes up now, but like that was one of the first things that like came up. So
Oh my God. And to this day, like it's what, 18 years ago, people still come up to me to this day and they're like, best rant ever. And I'm like, oh God, I know what you're talking about. So I don't regret it or anything. I mean, to this day, I don't know. The Americans say that it didn't happen, but I choose to believe in my head that
for
it did.
sure.
But it was very emotional, and it meant something to us as a team and to me. And we felt like it was kind of us against them. That's how it
Mhm.
felt. It was like a 72 series moment for us.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Has it sunk in yet that you are a Hockey Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I guess it has. It didn't until the weekend of. Honestly, I was like, okay, Hockey Hall of Fame. And then I went through the weekend and I was like, oh yeah, that was special.
Absolutely.
So,
Before
yeah,
there's a question that came in before we wrap up, Haley. If we can answer this question,
sure.
how would you keep focus for some of the easier round robin games in the Olympics without getting overconfident?
Yeah, that's a really good question, B. Monahan.
That's Brandon
Bra-
Monahan. Yeah.
Brandon. Okay. Hi, Brandon. You know what? We just decided as a team that if we were going to rout a team like 15-0, like Kazakhstan, I think in Vancouver, we beat them like by a lot, or it was going to be Finland and it was a semi, we were going to play the same way. We were not honestly overconfident as a team. I can honestly say never in an Olympics have I been a part of a Team Canada that was overconfident. We respected our opponent, but we also believed that we weren't gonna like dump the puck and sit back because we didn't go to the Olympics to do that because we knew that that wasn't going to help us win the gold medal at the end of the day. So we just decided, you know what, we are going to score. If it's going to be 30 goals, it's going to be 30 goals. If it wasn't an Olympic tournament and it was some other game somewhere else, we would have never do that. But in an Olympics, it's we're not there to apologize or take home a fair play. You're there to win. So it's a different feeling, but not overconfident, but focused on ourselves and our own game.
Yeah, we're about to wrap up, and all these questions come in right now.
Yeah,
how,
sure.
yeah,
Highs and lows.
the highs and lows of the game? That's a good
Uh, you know,
question.
I remember Daryl Sutter saying, hockey's like a roller coaster, and the goal is to stay off it and to stay even. And I always thought that's such a great comment because you can get so emotionally up and down in a game, and so it's really important to you're never as good as anyone says, and you're never as bad as anyone says. That's what I've learned in life and in hockey in general. So just somewhere in the middle. And what I used to do is when I'd have a bad shift,
Hmm.
I'd like swear I'd take my water bottle, drink it,
Hmm.
and then I would spit it out onto the ice. I'd spit my water as a way to like spit out the bad shift and kind of regroup in my head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I like to, I did
Interesting.
that. Yeah, I do a lot of weird things like that, but I believed in just negotiating with myself quite a bit.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, Haley, thank you so much for joining me on
Hi,
Instagram
Dawson.
Live. I really appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome. My pleasure. And stay safe and all the best to your dad doing amazing stuff to really save people's lives. Like, I mean, all these chief medical officers across Canada are like Canada's heroes right now. Like, what these people are, the data they have to go through, what they're doing. Like, major props to your dad. He's awesome.
No, for sure. And thank you so much. And thank you for just being a, legend in this country and for the game, but also, paying it forward and helping out, up and coming hockey players as well. Like that is amazing. And congrats on the Hockey Hall of Fame as well.
Well, thanks very much. Yeah, and I'll be doing a hockey specific one on, like I said, Wednesday, 1 o'clock Eastern. We've got Zach Hyman, and I think we're gonna focus on shooting. Zach's in a condo; he can't shoot, but he's got some tips. He's gonna talk about other stuff. I'm gonna demo some shooting, and yeah, we'll do some more hockey stuff, and then Sunday's more fun day. So I
Perfect.
appreciate chatting with you today, Peter, and
Yeah.
stay safe over there.
No, absolutely. Stay safe too. Thanks
Okay.
for everyone that watched and answered questions. And thank you, Haley. Stay safe.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
See ya.